So, want to hear a weird story? It's connected to other stories from my past that, all in all, would probably be too long to tell, but this is so weird that I think anybody would enjoy it. So, I study spiritual stuff. It's a big part of my life. I've, read about occultism and magic since my early teenage years. And after I was 16, me and some friends tried to raise demons and stuff like that. Foolishly, mind you, but no real ill effects ever came, so bless it. Well, anyway, I've been to India a couple of times, and I've read hundreds of books on occultism and spiritual stuff, and I take it real serious. I really take it seriously. So I thought, oh yeah, when I turn 40, I'll start to teach. I'll be a teacher. I'll start teaching when I turn 40. It was just in the back of my mind for years. And a few years back, my 40th birthday was approaching, and this lady, the young, beautiful lady from our tribe, she says on Facebook, "Hey, I want to learn Reiki. Somebody help me out." And I sent her a private message saying, "Well, I can't give you a certificate saying you're a Reiki person, but if you want to just learn energy healing and about Reiki specifically, I can teach you a bunch of stuff. I know a lot about it." And she said, "Oh yeah, sure. Sounds good." So we set up a date for a Sunday to go up on above where our drum circle is, and I was going to show her some things. Well, Sunday came, and she had a modeling gig she had forgotten about, so she couldn't go. But I said, whatever, I go up there anyway. So I went up. I get up to the place. There's a big tree on the side of a mini mountain, next to a bigger mountain, next to a canyon. I get up there, and I'm watering this little plant that was growing there, and I look, and just like not even 20 feet away is a sleeping bighorn sheep, a ram sleeping. And I whoo, ah! Because they got big as fucking heads. And I scared it a little bit, and it woke up. I mean, it scared me, but it woke up and stood up, looked at me, and I got up on a rock. So, I didn't know what was going to happen. But it just kind of walked away around a rock. And I said, oh. So I climbed up over the rock, and I was looking at it, and it stopped and looked at me again. And it took a jump and slipped and broke its neck right in front of me. This ram was just laying like upside down. It could kick its body, but it couldn't move its head. And I was stunned. What just happened? I was throwing raspberries at it, saying, "Oh, fucking move." So I'm sitting there just like stunned at this thing. I'm watching this poor animal, and I'm thinking, as I'm looking the thing in the eye, I'm thinking, this is some sort of unusual sacrifice thing on my behalf. I don't know. I don't really want the responsibility of having a life die here. Well, who knows? So eventually some hikers were there, and they had a phone, so we got a ranger out there, and to make a longer story short, the ranger shot it, and I saw it die. And then so I was a little shocked. I went to the drum circle afterwards, but I was still a little shocked. And then the next morning, somebody called me into work. I just had to run down here real quick over there. And as I had looked online, because rams are a traditionally sacrificed animal. I was looking, and the only thing I could really find was Amun from the Amun Ra, the Siwa Oasis. Every year on his feast day, they would sacrifice a ram to him. And but it wasn't really evident when the feast day was. So I asked my friend, who's an expert in that sort of thing, Coptic and Hebrew, Greek, Egyptian, all that stuff. He's an expert at that. And he said it was something like November 26th, give or take a few days, because of the Coptic calendar crossover, which was right then. I mean, it was within a week, of that day. And so that was kind of interesting. But then I'm driving to work that next day, and I was thinking the only other animal I could think of that would be a sacrificial animal would be a dove. But doves are everywhere. I wouldn't notice if one died, probably. But I'm driving to work. I'm going down to Rancho, and the car in front of me drives right over, like between its wheels is there's a dove, a living dove, sitting in the middle of the road. I'm like, oh my gosh! I had to move not to hit it, and in my rearview mirror, I watched it get crushed by a wheel. I saw that happen with my own two eyes. So I took that as a sign that indeed this ram dying was a sacrifice on my behalf, which is pretty creepy, kind of an old god kind of thing. So after I cleared up the business, I went back out to the place where the ram had been shot, and I had an olive branch randomly in my car, and I took some incense out there, and I just went and made a little ritual and said, hey, offering this sacrifice, I don't really understand it. Who doesn't love the idea of having power? But this was a little unusual. I thought, it was maybe good and fortunate, because if that girl had gone out there, of course it's just random like musing, but if that girl had gone out there, she was one of the great young beauties of the tribe. She had died or broken her neck, I would have felt so bad forever, And so in that sense, it might have been like a stand-in sort of thing. But so I'm out there, and I just say a prayer, and I'm thinking about, Amun and all this stuff, and I don't really know, but I got the real clear sensation, okay, your imperfect sacrifice has been accepted. I didn't know. I walked up the canyon there. I had some olives, some pomegranate seeds I'd found on the walk up, and then there was the raspberries I'd thrown at it. I had a bunch of little fruit things, and I planted them. I don't know if anything grew. I planted this stuff, and feeling contemplative, on one hand deeply honored and super thankful at what's such an unusually sacred thing, and on the other hand feeling just responsible for the death of this creature. I mean, I didn't kill it, but me being there, I feel caused its death. Not to, and let alone the whole like me turning 40, becoming a teacher thing. It was all kind of peculiar. So this all goes on. I feel settled but unsure in some sort of fundamental way, because life is sacred. And although it's maybe not the most flash action part, one of the best things is, as I was leaving, I walked back up the trail to the parking area. And as I was exiting the parking area, two laminated sheets were together. There was two laminated. They were different colors, but they had the exact same thing on them. It was the Heart Sutra from Buddhism. Gate gate pada gate pada samgate om bodhisattva svaha. Basically saying if you haven't read the Heart Sutra or you don't know it right off, read the translation. It's a paradox. This form is emptiness. Emptiness is not separate from this very form. And then there's the idea of going beyond this, going beyond the beyond, going beyond the beyond, beyond, like this sort of like thing, and that there's not a separation from true, total, full emptiness and this very form. And so it was very profound. I felt, in some sense, absolved from, because that was one part of Buddha's presence on earth, is putting an end to animal sacrifices. So I don't really know, but it was crazy. And then it took I went back up there daily until the beast had been gotten into by the coyotes. I kind of wish I'd gotten the skin and put it on a drum, but I got the skull, and I got the bullet casing too, or the shell casing from the bullet that shot it. And I just, like, I mean, who does that sort of thing happen to? That's so just mind-boggling. But I take it as a sign that I am somehow in sense of the old gods and the new gods. I don't know, Buddha. I feel like I have some sort of sanction. I'm sanctioned to teach spiritual things. But it's like these symbols are as powerful and potent as they are. There's also some ambiguity to it. What does it really mean? Right now, the skull is a house to my gecko, my pet gecko in my backyard named Rudolph, or Randolph. It kind of depends on the day of the week. I call him Randolph or Rudolph. But when I water my plants, it the gecko will come out and be like, what are you doing? And run in the skull. So that makes me happy. Crazy.